Hip-hop has always been a spicy hot pot of beefs and rivalries. One beef that got people talking in the early 2010s was a three-way drama between Ludacris, Drake, and Big Sean. Now, Ludacris has been around the block. He's known for dropping heavy lyrics and doesn't shy away from a face-off. He's had his fair share of issues with the big names like Nas, Chingy, and Mac Dre. But around 2011, he eyed a new target, the Canadian rapper known as Drake. Funny thing is, when Drake was just a newbie, he was a fan of Ludacris. He even name-dropped Ludacris in the song How About Now, poking fun at his own tunes while his girl suggested jamming to some Ludacris.
Then asked if we could listen to Ludacris. Them car rides made me feel like I was losing it.
But as Drake began climbing the charts, things got a little bit tricky for Ludacris. About 4 years before the song dropped, Drake and Ludacris' worlds collided. Drake was a big deal himself, and he wasn't about to let anybody push him around. And guess what? This time he wasn't the only one beefing with Luda. Big Sean, another heavy hitter, found himself in a mess with Ludacris, claiming that Luda jacked his flow. This juicy beef between Ludacris, Drake, and Big Sean gave us some fire diss tracks and got the hip-hop world buzzing. In this piece, we're gonna dig deeper into this drama and figure out what's the deal with these three and their bad blood. What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram and Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. So where does this drama between Ludacris, Drake, and Big Sean start? It all goes down to a key moment in hip-hop. Picture this, it's 2009 and Big Sean from Detroit drops his second mixtape, Finally Famous Volume 2, You Know Big Sean. He talks about dealing with his fame, the money, and all his street life struggles over 29 tracks. But there's one track, Super Duper, that changed the rap game for a minute. Sean introduced a new flow with the song and called it the Super Duper flow.
I am a super duper trooper, used to the bottom, scuba.
Now other people have used this flow before, but Big Sean popularized it and it became increasingly famous because of him. In essence, the flow is a one-word rhyme scheme that began with a metaphor and ended with a punchy one-word simile like swimming in the money trying to find me, Nemo.
Swimming in the money, come and find me, Nemo.
A line used by Drake. Here's another instance where the line was used. Here's another hit, Barry Bonds, and this one was done by Kanye.
And here's another hit, Barry Bonds.
Nicki Minaj said, just let them bums blow steam, Radiator. And Big Sean went, used to be the bottom, Scuba, so I'm on the grind, skateboard, till I'm the king of my castle, Cooper.
I came up with the rhyme scheme a lot of people thought he came up with. I call it the Super Duper flow, but it's the flow. He kind of made it more popular on that song Forever with him, Wayne, and Drake. It was kind of the one-word punchline.
Big Sean claimed he invented the flow, and other rappers just followed suit. He said this in an interview, with the Super Duper flow, I created that one-word rhyme style. Drake made it more popular, but he gave me credit, like I got it from Big Sean. But some people just did it so whack. And then in 2010, we have Ludacris. He was already a big name with a string of hits. He dropped Battle of the Sexes, and it shot to the top of the charts. It was a good time for Luda, but things slowed down when his next album dropped, called Ludaversal. Ludaversal only sold about 62,000 copies in its first week, compared to his prior album, which sold about 137,000 copies in its first week. This could be because it took him 5 years to drop the album, or maybe because hip-hop was changing. Now, why are we talking about these albums? Because Luda's position was shifting, and because on Battle of the Sexes, there were two tracks that got Drake's attention. Despite being a vet in the game, Luda was trying to keep up by picking up new styles, including the Super Duper flow. One of those tracks was How Low, and fans of Big Sean felt it was a ripoff of Sean's style. Then there was My Chick Bad, where Luda uses the Super Duper flow in his verses. Like when he says, coming down the street like a parade, Macy's.
Coming down the street like a parade, Macy's.
He also said, I fill her up, balloons. These lines had that same punchline, pause, punchline pattern that the super duper flow had. Now, after hearing Ludacris's versions, Drake had a few things to say about the overuse and misuse of the super duper flow. In an interview, he was like, I'm done with this flow. Wish I could take it out of my own album. He knew the flow began with Big Sean, who he first heard use it in a whole verse. He gave Big Sean his props for the innovation and thought Kanye picked it up from him. Drake and Wayne found a unique way to work the flow into their songs. Drake was like, the best use of the flow? That's us on Forever. Every line hits hard with mean punchlines. But according to Drake, after he dropped Forever with Wayne, a bunch of rappers began copying the flow without really using it well, leading to weak lyrics and dodgy references. He even threw shade at Ludacris for his line, it's a parade, Macy's, on my chick bad. Big Sean got in on the convo and agreed with Drake. According to them both, other rappers were not using the flow very well, and they should have refrained from using it. Ludacris, being a big deal in the rap scene, was not allowed to let Drake and Big Sean diss him like that. He came back with a diss track of his own called Bada Boom, aimed at both Sean and Drake. Luda was like, you're copying my style, and even took a dig at Drake's relationship with Rihanna.
Counterfeit rappers say I'm stealing they flows, but I can't steal what you never made up.
This lit the fuse on a beef between the three of them, and Ludacris was taking all the blame. After hearing Luda's Bada Boom, Drake sent out a tweet to Sean saying, you already know, I wish they'd just let young live. Respect, always. Then he added another vague tweet, who can I trust in 2012? No one, not even myself. Everyone was buzzing about the beef between Big Sean, Drake, and Luda. Fans were wondering what the heck began all of this. Then Big Sean dropped a YouTube video later to clear the rumors. According to him, Drake used the flow on the song Uptown with Wayne and Bun B, which was the same flow Sean used on his mixtape. Drake admitted that he got it from Sean's mixtape, but Sean was okay with it. According to him, he did not invent the flow, and he heard other people use it before, and said that he and Drake were cool, they talked, and everything was fine. And what about Ludacris? Well, Sean had a different take. He said that Ludacris maybe misunderstood an interview he did a year ago where he talked about a flow he used that Drake later used. He said Luda might have thought that Sean was dissing him, but Sean said, nah, I got no beef with Luda. He's a legend.
Oh, yeah. But the main thing people want to know, and we talked about it yesterday on the Wake Up Show.
What's up?
The beef.
Yo.
The beef. Ludacris has made a diss record. Bada boom.
That's true. Well, no, let me tell you something. If that's the case, I ain't got no problems with Luda. I never did. You know what I'm saying? I think he referring to an interview I did like over a year ago. Okay. Literally over a year ago.
Okay, so get to that.
So I guess that's what he's referring to. But in the interview, I said he's a legend. I said, you know, I ain't got nothing against. You know, I came up. I respect. You know, people who was ahead of me. I respect the OGs or the G's in general. So it's like the only thing I said was they was telling me about the super duper flow. They called it the super duper flow because on my mixtape, on You Know Big Sean, my second mixtape, I had a flow on there where I was using one word to describe another word in a punchline form.
Right.
So it'd be like, I just give them line after line after line, barcode.
Drake gave a shout out to Ludacris in his song How About Now, and after that, things between Drake and Ludacris began to cool down. In 2015, a ray of hope for peace came when Ludacris showed up on The Breakfast Club. During the chat, Ludacris dropped a bombshell. He and Drake had already squashed it out behind the scenes, with Drake even saying sorry. This showed a whole new side of Drake and made everyone think that maybe this beef was almost over.
Your bluff. It sounds like you're talking to somebody.
Absolutely.
Who are you talking to?
There's no one person in particular, man. It just gets to a point in rap, and I know you can relate to this, where it's like they talk so hard behind a microphone, and I'm letting everybody know. I've never claimed to be the hardest artist or the hardest dude, but when it's like when you start messing with a man's family or you start messing with him, that's what I say in the record. It's like you mess with me, you messing with my family.
Right.
And so I hate when people talk so tough on the microphone, but you see them in person, and this happens all the time.
Yes.
See them in person, it's like, oh no, you know, I ain't mean it like that, or
Entertainment.
everything's all good. It's just all
Are
entertainment.
you
No,
talking
it's
about
not. It's
Drake?
not entertainment. No, I just told you I'm not talking about anybody in particular.
I mean,
Me
I
and
even
Drake
saw-
had our thing though, but you know, he came to me and apologized like a man. He said, "Nah, man, you God body, you God body." That was the first time I heard. This is the first time I heard somebody call me God body. I was like, okay, well, nah, it's all good. Nah, me and Drake are alright, man.
Random.
But the drama didn't just end there. Everyone was waiting for the next move, wondering if the beef would fire up again or if they'd finally chill out. And then at the 2017 Billboard Music Awards, Drake got up on stage to accept an award for his killer record Views, but no one guessed what he was about to do. In front of the whole world, Drake spoke straight to Ludacris, who was hosting the event. Drake got real, admitted that they had their differences, but confessed he was a big fan and had mad respect for Ludacris. He wanted to say it straight to Luda's face.
I want to say, Ludacris, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, but I've always been a big fan of yours, man. I got a lot of love for you. I want to let you know that face to face while I'm still here.
For a lot of people not following this beef, they were like, huh? Why is Drake mentioning Ludacris? But for those who were in the know, they were like, okay, this beef is finally coming to an end. This marked a big shift in the feud, with both artists seemingly letting this beef die down. And Big Sean, well, he did a radio interview where he talked about how he considers Ludacris to be a legend and mentioned he was willing to let go of the drama and go back to making music. This whole beef between Ludacris, Drake and Big Sean played out like some reality TV show, grabbing everyone's attention. But it never got out of control or violent. Drake and Big Sean, not known for taking their feuds to the streets, showed everyone that things don't have to get too violent. Was Ludacris influenced by the super duper flow? That's still up for debate. But he was not too cool with the digs from Big Sean and Drake. But still, they were able to clear things up. Today, each of them is doing their own thing. Drake is the biggest rapper out there, Ludacris is killing it in Fast and the Furious, and Big Sean is loving dad life with his partner, Janae Aiko. Now Ludacris had beef with a lot of other artists, but today we're gonna talk about the artist that Ludacris dissed on the same song, and that man is none other than T.I. It all began around 2004. They were both asked to spit some bars for Young Buck's hit Stomp.
I hear him talking, but he bout to get that ass stomped. Watch I get the club crunk.
But it didn't take long for things to go south. The thing is, T.I.'s verse seemed to throw some shade at Ludacris. He had a line that went, "Real to see the difference between you and this. Me getting beat down, that's Ludacris."
Me getting beat down, that's Ludacris.
Now because Young Buck was very cool with Ludacris, he didn't want things to get out of hand, so he played the track for Luda. Then, upon hearing the track, Ludacris recognized that some of those T.I. bars were aimed at him. So what did Ludacris do? He came back hard and dropped one of his most aggressive verses he's ever dropped. If you listen to Luda's verse, you can clearly tell that the man came back with everything he had. His verse stole the show, becoming the highlight of the entire track. He had a line that went, "Nobody's thinking about you, plus your beats ain't legit. So please stay off the TIP of my D."
Nobody's thinking about you, plus your beef ain't legit. So please stay off the TIP of my dear.
Now if you're a die-hard hip-hop fan, you probably know that T.I. also goes by the name Tip. He also dropped an album called T.I. vs. TIP, so clearly that Ludacris line was aimed at T.I. In Young Buck's own words, I even got a T.I. like, "Yo, Luda heard this record. He wanna jump on the record." And he was like, "Oh, I'm cool with it." So Ludacris then jumped on Stomp, and the rest is history. Now after a bunch of back and forth about what was said and who had the right to say it, T.I.'s lines were cut from the original song. Back in the day, the original Stomp verse came out on a mixtape. And if you listen to Buck's album Straight Out of Cashville, you'll notice that it contains the song Stomp. Additionally, no T.I. verses can be found on the song. In Buck's own words, "I couldn't just jump on this record and have them having differences with each other and then have Luda be like, 'Yo Buck, what's up?'" Now at the time, Young Buck was planning to replace T.I.'s verse with rapper D-Tay from G Unit South. In Buck's own words, even throughout the song, you don't hear either one talking about killing each other. It's just more of a competitive thing. Damn, that's hip-hop. So that's why I don't really understand the whole changing your verse part about the situation. But it is what it is. I ended up having to take T.I.'s verse off of my album. I got G-Unit South Records coming pretty soon. I got an artist I've been working with by the name of D.T. So y'all can look forward to D.T. on Stomp Part 2. Now just when people thought the tension had died down, rumors got around that T.I. threw a punch at Ludacris's manager, Shaka Zulu. It happened in Los Angeles, and the whole thing was allegedly about the verses on Stomp. Eventually T.I. and Ludacris made amends and moved past the beef. They even made some tracks together, like On Top of the World and Wish You Would.
Cause I got it. All these haters wanna grill me.
This Stump record, right? That Stump record came about, I'm gonna be honest, like last minute for us. Game was never meant to kind of be on that record at the time. We was out of crew with no bad blood. Still ain't no bad blood. I ain't got no problem with none of these niggas, to be real.
Yeah.
But at the same time, making that record, I remember when I first put that record together, I stressed out to T.I. first.
To feature on it?
To feature on it.
What happened?
And when Tip, man, you know Tip a animal, a genius, like too, man.
He's so
and
smart.
See, I done grow to really kind of like, I ain't gonna say get to know him, but just to really, like, I'm a fan of Tip, for real, you feel me? So, homie really got it together, but I just tripped over how things happen, you feel me? Because a lot of people be asking me, how did I get them on that record, Luda and Tip and all of that shit? Like they were kind of going at it, and that was never planned on God.
That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened between Big Sean, Drake, and Ludacris in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.